Welcome back to the channel, folks. It's a Saturday night, a little bit late here on the East Coast, about 11:13 p.m. and I thought I would do a video, a little more in-depth look at some of the rolls. I collect bank-wrapped rolls and original BU rolls of US coins, primarily pre-1965 or 1964 and earlier, dimes, quarters, half dollars, but I also collect pennies and nickels. I'll buy pretty much any bank roll or bank wrapped roll that makes sense, that appears to be original or appears to have some sort of value or interest. What we're looking at here to kick the video off are some old ANACS, if you will, photo seal certificates, which predate the first generation slabs. I collect these as well. I'm a very big fan of the first and second generation ANACS, the two-letter cert number. More on that in a few seconds, how that number fits into their scheme. It actually started on the photo slabs. That ANQ number is actually the certificate number. Right there, number ANQ202, and you can see the coin is in just a plastic flip. But there is a photo of that plastic flip, and I wouldn't call it a digital image, as this is 1984. These actually started in 1979. This is the first third-party grading mechanism. ANACS was founded in 1972. 1979, they started the photo seals. They transitioned over to slabs, encapsulation into plastic that can't be tampered with without affecting the integrity of the holder in 1986. Same as PCGS. Of course, ANACS nor PCGS was the first company to use hard plastic encapsulated slabs. That prestigious award goes to AccuGrade. So these are really cool. I would not break these up to cross them over, if you will, under any circumstance, even though this is a glorious and very conservatively graded 8-tail feather 1878 Morgan. You can see below average surface quality, average eye appeal, sharp strike, original luster. So, what is below average surface? I'll show you. I'll show you why it earned that prestigious notation. Let's see if we can get... Oops, sorry for the thumb. Again, my setup is far from ideal, and I apologize. We're in a plastic flip, so we're not going to have the easiest time. You can see we got a cartwheel there, though, which I don't always get on my videos. But you can see we have... Just trying to balance my iPhone, because that's how I do it. That's how I roll. Far cry from Ben the Coin Geek, I know, or any of the other far more advanced people on YouTube. But that is below average surface quality, folks, and we haven't even gotten to the reverse, which is, as Ben would say, miles better. No, he wouldn't say that, but he does say the reverse is better. I mean, that's a 60 in 1984. Think that would be a 60 today? I say that would be a 63 today. That's what I say. Set a piece of plastic out of the way. Count the tail feathers down below branches and the olive branch and the arrows, there's 8 of them. That's why it's called an 8-tail feather Morgan. The 8-tail feather was the first Morgan dollar struck, aside from the Judd patterns, of course. First circulation strike, Morgan dollar. So this ANQ 178 matches up. Well, first of all, the photo matches up with the coin pretty accurately. Those marks are right in line. ANACS as determined, yada, yada, yada. Registered owner. We won't read all the verbiage. You can find this information online easy enough. There's a great thread on the Collectors Universe CU forums, which gets into this in great detail. It's from 2019. If you Google ANACS photo seal, photo slabs, you will find it easily enough. And this was, ANACS was purchased in 1990 by AMOS, and that's when the company changed from the white the ANA holders, the small white ANACS holders, and they went into the blue holders in the 1990s, and ultimately into the yellow holders that we see today. So let me get these out of the way and show you one other very cool thing I picked up at the recent Centennial auction, and that's these 2 proof sets. I know they're nothing spectacularly rare or anything. Yeah, early 50s, so anything pre-1955 is a little bit scarce. This 1953 set just has some really crazy and awesome toning if you are into that sort of thing. These capital holders are known to impart some beautiful toning on these coins, and wouldn't say any of these are cameo, but they are lovely with that rusty toning around the rim, which actually has some various reds and yellows and greens blended in. Look at that dime. Look at the shimmer. Oh, a little salt and pepper, I could eat that. That is glorious. Yeah, lot number, sorry about that. I gotta take that off. That was, I bought it back on June 13th. You'd think I'd have it off by now. Lovely. Wonderful. That dime is something else. Now that's magnificent, and although this 1951 set doesn't have the same toning, it is in OGP, original government packaging, right? And voila, whoops. We're balancing this on a solo cup, so I'm doing the best I can. All right, so there's the tissue paper, the original tissue paper. Trying to do this above the iPhone, trying not to spill it. And of course, they come in a stapled package, for those of you who may not know. Try to zoom in on some of these. We won't spend a ton of time on this. These are lovely too. Beautiful, right? I mean, if I could take it out of the cellophane, it would be even more beautiful, but we can't do that. That is glorious. Don't see many contact marks on that. And nickel is a nickel. When is a nickel worth more than a nickel? When it's in original government packaging, cellophane, 1951 proof set. Okay, now that we've established that, I know my dad jokes are awful. Just trying to fill that voided time as we look. know what they say, save the best for last, right? You have the attention span to last another 10 minutes. A little bit of toning on the dime here in the reverse. Speckled understates, a larger piece on America and dime. Now, when we get to the $half, and it's hard to tell through the cellophane, I think there's a 20 or 30% shot of a cameo. It's really hard to tell through the cellophane, and it's even more hard to tell in my crappy light setup. You have to have a cameo effect on both sides. We don't see it on any of the previous coins. Probably not going to capture the $half very well in this lighting. But I have looked at it under proper lighting, which I can't seem to capture on camera. But it does have a shot at a cameo. Probably not. It's close though. A lot closer than this video is making it look. There is some contrast. A lot of frost on that portrait. And, oops, get that out of the way. We got all this extra cellophane clouding our view here. So again, this I'm under bright light in order to make this video. But anyway, it's a lovely, and of course the famous mint staple. You know, that staple is what, 82 years old. Now that, they don't make them like they used to. That I can tell you. And then of course my ANACS slabs, this piece dollar, 1921 piece, MS61. It's a pretty strict grade, but you do have a gash on the cheek. Although today that's probably just a blemish, not so much a gash. The neck and cheek there, we have some pretty heavy marks. But we have wonderful toning, we have nice luster. There's the cartwheel I can never seem to get in these videos. High relief 1921, right? Wildly popular during COVID. 100th anniversary, the release of those. The Mint has excellent marketing. They've only gone down by, what, 30% today? But hang in there. They'll come back. I don't really buy moderns. I mean, I buy them when I buy collections, but I don't collect them for myself, per se. This 1902 is a better date, Philadelphia Morgan. And it's a very nice example. I'm trying to capture the whole coin on the video. I'm famous for cutting off the top. I'm trying to zoom and I'm trying to get you the best look. It's got really nice surfaces, incredible toning, and as I said, save the best for last. Date we don't see very often in mint state is this 89.0. It's very elusive, and this one is just, I don't know, man. I don't know how they gave it a 62. There's a little bit of roughage there on the cheek, small series of small marks and nicks. I think it's a 63 all day, maybe even a 4. It's got great luster for an O mint, which is always softly struck. You know, we have an average strike. I wouldn't say it's a great strike. I wouldn't say it's weak. Get some breast feathers, not as many as you see on the Philly and the San Fran ones. But it's got just terrific look. The reverse isn't quite as clean as many Morgan dollar reverses compared to the obverse, but the coin is just tremendous. So the real purpose of this video was to take a closer look at some of the rolls. I don't know where we start. We will take a closer look at some. The pennies are in chronological order. That top left is a 1942. There's a few from the 50s, then we get down to a whole bunch of 1957s, as you can see. And the 57s continue. You've got the manufacturer's trust, and then we go down to 1958s, and it wraps up with 1960 in that bottom right, and then we continue to the next box, and it goes from 1960 to I think 1962. So there's probably 50 or so rolls, 1960 to 62. And we move on to box 3. Is this out of order? Nope. Okay, so 63 through the 60s, 65, 67, 69, D at the bottom. All those 50-cent pennies are all 1972 D or S. And they continue over here for 73. Sorry, 72S. And we get into the 73s. We have the plastic wrap ones. And then we get into the more modern 70s. And these are, like this one. It's going to be hard to pull it out. 73S with the stamp. These were machine, you know, once you get into the 70s, the rolls tend to be a lot tighter. The technology improved in the way that they were rolled. They weren't using the Batdorf technique, where you had the V in the middle. And I'll show you the Batdorf when we get there. And then, you know, we have some tubed. That first one's a 38 nickel roll, but then we've got 38 penny roll, 38S penny roll. Those were all wheat cent rolls. And that half a roll is because this roll is a Megringer tube, and I just got the top half out, the rest of them are stuck. So then we have the dimes. Those are all BU tubes. Obviously a lot of better dates in there with the 46 DNS, 47 DNS, 248D rolls. There's a lot of 67s in that roll. I just picked up one of the key dates of the series, that 1949. You see the 49D sitting next to it. 50D, 51S, that's a key date. So the goal is to have at least one roll of every date in mint mark, whether it's a tubed roll or a bank wrapped roll. And I'm only missing the 49S, the 1950S. That's it. No, 48P, I'm missing 3. 48P, 49S, 50S. I think we're up to 120 bank wrapped roll dimes, maybe more. Those top 4 are Mercury. We'll get into that. We got the quarters. They're out of order. Well, looks like it starts with 51, but it really starts over here. There's a couple from up the top there. There's a 43 roll, 2 45s, 48, and then we go to the 51, and down we go. And then we have the $50, and then that one roll of 1879 Morgans there. But what I want to do is talk about these just a little bit, because for those of you who are new or learning, you know, one of the most basic premises with these rolls is understanding how they were made, understanding what they should weigh, right? Because silver coins, all $10 in silver coins, whether it's dimes, quarters, or $50, has the same weight, which is 250 grams. So whether it's 20 $50, 40 quarters, or 50 dimes, it weighs 100 dimes, it weighs 250 grams. So knowing that, right, we can get a scale if you have one. All right, we can set it to grams, like so. And if I put this roll of dimes on here, it should be 125 plus the paper. So it's 1944p roll. All right, 127. Exactly what I expect it would be. And when I put the second roll, we're at 254. So there's your 250 grams. And the same would apply with, you know, as I said, dimes, quarters, or half dollars. So this roll is a 1940p, which is one of the earliest bank wrapped rolls I think you'll ever find. I don't think that they were bank wrapped. I mean, they were bank wrapped earlier than that, but they're really scarce. You know, I'm looking at, you know, the paper is always so much thicker. Paper is very, very thick. It's a thick stock. You know, there's no possible way that coins that have been in this paper for 85 years wouldn't be toned at this point. So you're looking for that thick patina. You know, and you just have to develop an eye for that really over time. These are expensive, you know, it's hard to buy one of these for under $700 or $800 really, unless you just, you know, get lucky, stumble upon a yard sale or somebody on Craigslist that's just selling them off, maybe as junk silver or, you know. But if you're going to buy them, you know, at any type of public auction or on eBay or anything like that, you're going to pay for them. So here's a 44 roll. Satley company is very common. This one had a paper plug on the end, revealed in order to see if we had a tails. You know, labeled 1944p. A lot of times, you know, if the bank wrap is from the East Coast, it will be Philadelphia, or more likely than not, Satley company, Detroit, New York. Detroit could be both Denver or Philly, more likely Philly. So it's consistent and it makes sense. So these kind of go in chronological order. So those first four rolls are Mercuries, and then we get into 1946, and we got three 1946 P. Of the three I have, I think only one is really original, this one. I'll show you why. This one has that thick paper stock and that lovely toning that you'd expect to see. It just looks old, right? Shouldn't it look old? Should look old, right? Feels old. The paper is soft, frayed, faded, right? Somebody wrote something on it probably a long time ago. Looks like 1946. God knows when that was written on. So these are all the clues. And again, this, you know, we can unwrap this and recrimp it, right? So you'll never know. All you can do is say, let me check all the sniff tests, and if none of them fail, then you have a good chance. Now this is a generic paper that I think is post 1946. I think this was rolled probably in the 70s maybe. That's my guess. It's certainly not an original roll, but the roll itself could very easily be original. We've got beautiful rainbowish toning on the end there. And the same here. And this paper is old and frayed. It's not as thick as the other, but it's you know, it's 50-year-old paper, and this is the least of them all, even though this is a vintage wrapper. And it could be original, but the coins on the end are bright. They have been. Now I've owned this roll for a few years and they haven't toned yet. So I don't want to say that they could be inert, but you know, there could be something. This paper just might not have as much sulfur content. Hard to put my finger on it. It's the only thing that's giving me pause about this, you know, this roll being quote unquote original. But the rest of it makes sense, so maybe. This is one of two 46D rolls. I thought this roll was short until I weighed it. Someone opened it, resealed it. That's fine. It'll sit in there. You know, a lot of these, I don't open the rolls. Here's a 46D and a 46S. These have some incredible toning. It's tempting because I do look for coins that are worthwhile sending in the PCGS. Look at the toning on this one. And the lighting is so bad that it's just not doing it justice. Maybe in a darker. No, I'm not going to get it, I don't think. Not on this iPhone. That's probably the best I'm going to get. But this toning, it's like almost like a winter wonderland type scene. It's got that reddish. It's glowing. Looks almost like snow and ice. It's got that. It's just got that. It's got a great look. And we've got more of a mottled tone on the front. On the other side, the obverse, if you will. Paper's ripping. This is a bank you don't see very often, First National Bank of Birmingham. This one I never had a doubt about it being original. Of course, the paper's starting to fray. And then we have the California Bank head office, Los Angeles. This is a fairly common roll as well. Again, excellent toning. 46S. Any S mint mark dime roll is scarce. Look at that wonderful toning. Glorious. Just beautiful. So it's very tempting to open some of these, but we resist that urge because we know we can always open them later, but once they're open, we can't put them back in the bag. I mean, I suppose we could, but I wouldn't. 47. It's a wonderful roll, 1947p. Here's a scarce roll, 47S. Look at that toning, huh? Just beautiful. Wells Fargo. $47S, quite scarce. Even more scarce, 48S. Somebody put this typewriter value thing on there. It's not worth that much. It's worth 400, 500 maybe. Not quite that much. Now here's a very scarce date, 1950p. Heads on both ends, so we're at the mercy of the previous owner. I found them to be accurate. So we have several 51D, which are quite a better date, especially in Bankrat. We have 3 or 4 of these though. We just picked up another one. That was from friend Julian Coin on eBay. And then we've got a 52. And then we've got a bunch of 53, P and D, couple S's. And then 54. And then we're just inundated with 55s, 55D and S. Probably got 30 or 40. And then we get into the more common run. All right, so quarters. I think you've seen some of these before if you've seen my videos. Up, plastic snapped. That's all right, we're going to take it off anyway. So this roll is another one of those with that thick paper. Federal Reserve Bank of New York, 45p. Look at the thickness of that paper. I mean, there's just no doubt it's original. Now, it was opened on this end, but the integrity of the roll, as I like to say, is intact. Dealers would open them just to confirm the date, all that. You know that old saying. I am not going to mess with this, but it does have some nice toning underneath, as you can see. So this is one of my prized rolls. I just love the paper on this roll. plastic is dead. 51D, we got a couple of these. That one, we got this one here. Obviously same batch, same bank. They came together, I bought them together from the same guy. You can see the paper's thick. Very similar to that 45 roll. There's another 45 roll. There's a half a roll with some great toning. 59D. They did make these half rolls. US Treasury, Washington, D.C. That's a beauty. We got a whole bunch of 56Ds. We got 55 and 55D, which lately have been, people have been paying big premiums for those. Not quite sure why. They're not really rare, but every time one comes up for sale, it sells at a big premium. 55. Hard to see the date under there, but those are lovely. The half dollars, I mean, we could be here all day. Some of the prized ones. This 52D roll is just beautiful. Federal Reserve of Cleveland. Excellent original toning. Beautiful toning on the reverse. There's your D for Denver top. And there's your 52. And if you want to do the weight, let's get the solo cup out of the way. Alright, grams tiered. 253. $10. So that checks out. That means there's a 0% chance that there's any clad coins in there, since they would weigh 228 if it was a full roll of clad. And we have a second 52D roll right next to it. Federal Reserve St. Louis with a date stamp, which I love. More original toning. Again, it looks like it's been opened on the end, but they folded over that. A lot of people don't realize that that's how they were originally wrapped. As you can see, there was a paper plug on the back of this 1954 roll, which is another one with bright, shiny, minimal toning. Yet the roll itself is definitely vintage. So this one came from a bank bag of $1,000, or yeah, $1,000, 100 rolls, and they all look the same. So maybe they were stored very well. US Treasury of Washington, D.C., 1954. Beautiful roll. We have 55 rolls, which are always popular. 1955, scarce in bank wrap. Very scarce. And we have a second one. Somebody bought this back in 1961 and they paid $16.50. 50% over face value when silver coin was still in production. Right? Silver coin in production up till 1964. 6 years after this date, they were selling at a premium because of the low mintage. These were speculators thinking that these were going to be rare. Only 2 million were made, or a little under 2 million. It didn't really work out that way. 55 is still a revered and chased after date. I think it's overrated. There's always a handful of rolls available on eBay and other places. Not bank wrap, but tubed rolls. And I've got quite a few myself. This roll is one of my favorites just because of the toning, which isn't really showing up here. But there's your bat dwarf roll. the V. Mentioned that earlier. We get into some, this is another 57 roll. Beautiful. Just beautiful. We have a couple of 57D rolls from the Federal Reserve Bank of St. Louis. These have date stamps. October of 57. There should be another one right next to it. Yep, same date. Yep, so I don't think I want a fast one. These two came together from the same collection. And then we got a bunch of 58s, 58D, 59D, 60, 60D, 63D, etc. We got these double rolls, these shotgun rolls, and these should weigh 500 grams, right? We've got a bunch of 64 Kennedy, and we got a bunch of Franklin. And I actually got these for a steal. I remember buying the Franklins pretty much at junk silver prices. I think I paid 200 a roll, 400, 200, 20 times face. That's what I'm trying to say. I paid 400 each. Maybe it was 410, but it wasn't any more than that. United National Bank of Portland. And that's an amazing find, and sure enough, 505 grams. Put two of them on there, and what do you know? A little over 1,000 grams. So there's not a doubt in the world that these are all 64 Kennedys through and through. So we've got those. Below these top layer of $20 shotguns, we have in some Morgan dollar roll, 1879. We got our Franklins below. Those top two are 1948. 48 and 48D, which are pretty scarce in bank wrap, let alone $20 bank wrap rolls. Penny rolls, penny rolls. Penny Lane. I'm not gonna sing. Sure way to get people to exit the video right away. There's a lot of penny rolls on eBay. I don't really buy them on eBay because there's just too many, it's a minefield. I will from a certain few people, or from people who don't sell rolls. They do it as a one-off, and they get the right feeling about it. Generally speaking, I won't buy these on eBay though, especially pennies. This roll is absolutely beautiful though. It's exactly what you want to see when you're buying a bank wrapped roll of pennies. And here's another Batdorf roll, which is always a good sign, and an even better sign when the bank makes sense. The Corn Exchange is a good one, and it's a fairly tight roll, which is a little bit, people always want the tight rolls, but that's not necessarily the case for confirming or denying originality, or if it's been opened. That's a myth. This is a 1950, trying to reveal the date for you. Let's see if I can get that date pushed back without causing any damage. Let's see if I can use this paper clip. Just get under that wrapper without scratching the surface of the coin. I don't know if I did or not. Probably not. Nope, I don't think we're going to be able to see it. That might as well. You can see the 5 in there. $1950, I think this is. I don't know why the date isn't written on it. Yeah, right there, 1950. Okay. 1950p, that's a better date, especially in bank wrap. And this one's in a tube because it's brittle and falling apart. And this one was Jacob Loeb Baking Company, Cleveland, Ohio. So this was wrapped by the merchant back when pennies actually counted for money. This is hand wrapped, but original. And then the Pennsylvania Company. $1956, we got a slew of 57s. Beautiful. They're all manufactured standard, and then those were all the same. And then you get the manufacturer's trust. We're moving to the memorials, so forth. We saw the dime rolls earlier. I don't know if you saw, we have a 51D roll. Couple 52D, those are halves. 52S, the key date. 53S, 54S, 355 rolls, 356 rolls. Couple rolls of Morgans. So there's a little more insight into the roll collection. If you have any comments or any questions or anything you want to see next, please let me know. I hope you enjoyed this Saturday evening show and tell, if you will. And please leave your comments. And if you like the video, don't be afraid to give a like. Don't be afraid to subscribe if you haven't. And let me know. You can find us on eBay at Sam's Coins and Heavy Metal. We just launched a website, still under construction, same name, samscoinsandheavymetal.com. I am actually building the website myself, and I have no idea what I'm doing. So if you go on there, please try not to laugh. But if you have anything else to add, any questions, any comments, anything positive or negative, I'll take constructive criticism very well. I don't deal well with sarcasm and trolling. There's a big difference. I have no issues whatsoever with constructive criticism. I know that I'm a hack at this, and I've got a lot to learn, and there's a lot of other far more experienced and superior content creators to what I do, but I'm just a guy here trying to offer a little bit of insight and knowledge into my own experiences of being in this hobby for about 25 years. So on that note, I bid you all a terrific rest of your evening, and we'll catch you in the next video. And I kept it under 45 minutes, which is actually pretty miraculous for me. Have a good night, guys.